Well, y'all, Nicki Minaj is back on X, and she's coming for Jay-Z. So in a series of tweets, Nicki Minaj is claiming that Jay-Z owes her 100 to 200 million so far.
It all kicked off with a confession no one saw coming, the kind that shakes the whole foundation of hip-hop power. When Nicki Minaj opened up about Jay-Z, it wasn't just another story about a deal gone bad or some petty studio drama. She hinted at something way more personal. Nicki claimed that years ago, Jay tried to cross a line, turning what was supposed to be friendship into something deeper. But when she turned him down, everything flipped on its head. That's when, according to Nicki, her world started to crumble. Not in public, but behind the scenes. Slowly, quietly, and strategically, a silent war kicked off. It wasn't fought on stage or on Twitter. It was happening in boardrooms, through contracts, and whispered deals. Hip-hop has seen plenty of beefs, but this one hit different. It dug straight into the roots of power, control, and what really goes down when the cameras stop rolling. The timeline makes it hard to ignore. Back in early 2021, Jay-Z cashed out, selling Tidal for over $300 million. But rewind to 2015, when Nicki was one of the artists promised equity, a 3% slice that was supposed to give her real ownership. Yet when that massive payout hit, she says she didn't see a single dime. Nicki even posted that she pushed Tidal harder than anyone, even Beyonce. And later, insiders confirmed it. Some founding artists walked away with millions, but Nicki's name nowhere on that list.
Like blogs and online platforms don't touch what she's saying, and they don't cover all of her words fully because it's Jay-Z and Roc Nation.
Well, I'll tell you this, I have no idea about their business, but if someone owed me $200 million, then I would be in court, not on X, and I guarantee you if she ever took that to court, that would be a huge story.
At first, it sounded like just another celebrity gripe until everything started falling apart fast. By March 2024, Nicki and her husband, Kenneth Petty, were hit with a $500,000 default judgment after a German security guard accused Petty of assaulting him backstage. Then, out of nowhere, that same man's lawyers went after Nicki's $20 million Hidden Hills mansion. And by September, the LA Sheriff's Office confirmed it. Her home was officially under levy. The strangest part, all this chaos hit right after Nicki started calling out Jay-Z by name over the Tidal deal. Suddenly, lawsuits were piling up. Tabloids were tearing her apart, and most of that coverage coming from outlets tied to Roc Nation. Coincidence or a cold reminder from Jay's camp about who really runs the game?
Y'all really do not understand who I really am. Bring it, let's play. Y'all wanted attention, let's do it. Then she starts talking to the LAPD about something we have nothing to do with. And she's saying to Republic Records that they need to stand up for her any day now. Then she says, you'll regret it. Now, I've been going down the rabbit hole.
Here? Why did this happen?
Nicki seemed to think she had her answer. On October 15th, 2025, she dropped a bombshell post online announcing her new album was canceled and tagging Jay-Z directly with one chilling line, "Hope you're happy now." That post went nuclear instantly. Within hours, Nicki's Instagram was gone, wiped clean like it never existed. Then, just days later, it popped back up with a wild twist. An AI-generated photo of Jay-Z wearing a bright pink wig and the chilling caption, "I am your karma." Fans lost it. Some said it was a full-blown meltdown, but others, they saw a woman snapping the chains of control.
Apparently, Nicki Minaj has dragged Jay-Z to filth. She blasts him for being evil and spiteful.
For those who followed Nicki's journey from day one, it didn't sound crazy. It sounded like a warning, like she was ready to burn the whole system down before letting it destroy her again. But the industry didn't hesitate to strike back. Charlemagne Tha God, one of Jay-Z's most loyal allies, went live on The Breakfast Club and crowned Nicki Donkey of the Day, the ultimate shade. His words hit hard. "Your energy is just stankin' nasty." He called her rants a cry for help from a bruised ego, but something about it didn't feel real and it felt staged. And the timing, too perfect. That segment aired barely 48 hours after Nicki accused Jay-Z's camp of blocking her from radio interviews.
Nicki Minaj, she went on another Twitter rant, and she still got Jay-Z and Roc Nation in every tweet. She be wilding on them. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never seen nobody come at Jay-Z this hard.
Later, whispers from industry insiders said that episode got cleared by iHeart's top brass, the same execs still connected to Roc Nation. That's when people realized this wasn't just a clapback, it was a coordinated takedown. Every move felt like it was planned step by step. Then came the real chaos. 4 horrifying swatting calls in a row. Each time, armed police stormed Nicki's house while her toddler was inside. LAPD confirmed every incident but claimed they had no suspects. Nicki wasn't buying that for a second. She went public, furious, demanding answers and calling it what it was: intimidation. She even tagged Republic Records and Jay-Z's team, claiming she had proof these weren't random. They were deliberate hits meant to scare her silent. Not long after that, the raids just stopped. No arrest, no explanation, just silence. But the message, loud and clear. Whoever was behind it wanted Nicki to know she wasn't safe, not even in her own home. When you line it all up, it doesn't feel random at all. It feels methodical, like someone was checking boxes one by one. First, the missing title money, then the lawsuits, the mounting debt, the hit pieces from Charlemagne and Stephen A. Smith, and a media chorus repeating the same narrative word for word. After that, the mind games went into overdrive. Her socials kept vanishing. The AI mockery wouldn't stop, and cops kept showing up at her house in the middle of the night. Each one of those things alone could have been chalked up to bad luck, but together, it started looking like a full-on pattern. Even a former label exec spoke out saying, when a woman in this business refuses the wrong man, they don't just cancel her, they erase her. That line hit hard because it sounded exactly like what was happening to Nicki. What made it all darker was how fast the industry fell in line. Just hours after Nicki's outburst, Gucci Mane's wife, Keisha Kaoir, suddenly showed up on The Breakfast Club talking about Gucci's mental health journey and how strong he'd become. Sounds innocent, right? But Nicki wasn't buying it. She fired back, claiming Keisha was only there to keep Gucci sedated. At first, it sounded wild until Nicki brought up Charlemagne again, accusing him of being Jay-Z's inside man, using iHeartRadio for what she called disgusting ploys against innocent families. Suddenly, it didn't seem random at all. It looked like a whole network moving in sync. Same shows, same hosts, same timing. Whether people believe Nicki or not, that pattern was too clear to ignore. And through all of it, Jay-Z stayed completely silent. Not one public word, no Roc Nation statement. Nothing. While Nicki was getting dragged online, reporters were calling her unstable, pundits were labeling her self-destructive, and Jay just sat comfortably in the shadows, untouched.
Yeah, so
What that got to do with Sister Minaj?
because there's a lot of fans online having a conversation right now following our interview if whether or not Kenneth, who's Nicki Minaj's husband, should be doing the same for Nicki Minaj because
Absolutely.
she's online and there's a lot of things that she's saying and
But that
different things
wasn't
that
the
are
reason
happening.
she shot at Charlemagne, was it?
No, forget me. Why did she come at Keisha? I don't understand. Like, what did anything Keisha have to say?
Then came another bombshell. Nicki went off on Jay-Z again, accusing him of blocking Lil Wayne from performing at the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, saying his ego was punishing greatness. She got roasted for it online. People said she was sticking her nose where it didn't belong. But the truth behind that rant ran deep. But it was about loyalty. Lil Wayne was the man who discovered her, who believed in her when nobody else did, and watching him get sidelined in his own city hit her hard. To Nicki, this wasn't coincidence. It was more proof of the quiet revenge she'd been warning about. By late October, everything hit a breaking point. Her mansion was still under threat of forced sale, lawsuits kept piling up, and she was just weeks away from relaunching her billionaire Barbie brand. Then, almost on cue, every major outlet suddenly started rehashing old stories about her husband's probation and past charges. No updates, no new info, just recycled drama with fresh headlines. Media analysts later called it a refresh cycle, a slick media trick used to drown out real news with old dirt. And right at the top of that cycle, the same familiar outlets tied to Roc Nation's media network. Coincidence or a cleanup in progress? It all circles back to one chilling question. If Nicki's claims are real, if turning Jay-Z down really sparked a personal vendetta, then what else is hiding beneath hip-hop's biggest empire? Nicki's been hinting that lawyers, media insiders, and even parts of law enforcement are tied into a system built to protect one man's image. There's still no hard proof, not yet, but the timing, the patterns, and the silence, they scream louder than any denial ever could, because if Jay really has the kind of reach to pull legal strings, control radio hosts, and even use cops to crush someone who simply said no, then we gotta ask who else got silenced and who's next. But buried underneath that question is something even more dangerous. What Nicki dropped next wasn't just about revenge. It hinted at a machine so powerful, even Beyonce might be tangled up in it. That $500,000 judgment against Nicki didn't just feel like a court loss. It landed like a financial guillotine, slicing through her independence and showing the world how ruthless this game can get. Right when Nicki was clawing back control of her brand, a man named Thomas Biden Mueller suddenly popped up, claiming unpaid damages tied to that 2019 security guard incident overseas. But what really made fans skin crawl was how fast that case moved. The second Nicki started calling out Jay-Z by name, everything around her sped up like someone hit the gas. Within months, her $20 million Hidden Hills mansion got slapped with a legal levy. To the casual fans, it looked like another messy celebrity court battle, but to anyone really paying attention, it felt like pressure, a quiet message to anyone bold enough to challenge the system. That seizure notice wasn't just a legal form, it was a statement in bold print about who holds the power, who stays comfortable, and who pays the price for daring to speak out. And when you trace that same pattern, it leads straight back to Tidal. The streaming giant Jay-Z sold in 2021 for around $302 million. Nicki's been saying for years that her promised stake, worth somewhere between $100 and $200 million, just vanished into thin air. On paper, every founding artist was promised equity and payouts, but insiders swear her name was nowhere in that final deal. So was that just business or payback for turning down a man who doesn't take rejection lightly? The silence around it has been deafening. When Nicki pressed for answers, Roc Nation and Block Inc. stayed dead quiet for years. But the moment she brought it up again this fall, boom, her legal troubles exploded all over again. To everyone watching from the sidelines, it didn't look random at all. It looked like a double strike, financial revenge disguised as coincidence, all meant to remind her what happens when you cross the wrong kind of power. And behind those polished glass walls of Roc Nation, one name keeps popping up, Desiree Perez. That name keeps surfacing like a ghost in the shadows. The same Roc Nation CEO, once pardoned by a former president, is now rumored to be the quiet mastermind steering the machine. Sources close to major label circles claim Perez was the one whispering to streaming platforms and networks, warning them to minimize risk around Nicki Minaj. In plain words, she allegedly told them to freeze Nicki out. No big collabs, no talk show invites, no brand deals, just silence. Even Republic Records, Nicki's own label, started splitting down the middle, half her team standing by her, half caving to Roc Nation's pressure. Insiders say the moment Nicki went public about the missing title money, internal audits started flying left and right, and wouldn't you know it, around that exact same time, those creepy swatting calls started hitting, armed officers showing up at her house 4 times while her toddler was inside. Coincidence? Maybe, but the pattern was just too suspicious to ignore. The pressure didn't stop there. It got ugly. Suddenly, private text messages between Nicki's team and other industry names started leaking to blogs that just happened to be known for Roc Nation exclusives. Some of those messages painted her as unstable. Others accused her of owing cash advances. None of it verified, but all of it just dirty enough to stain her reputation. A former road manager didn't even sugarcoat it. He said, "It's not about truth, it's about exhaustion." And that's exactly how it looked. Every headline, every so-called meltdown, every new rumor seemed engineered to drain her energy until she had nothing left to fight with. And through all that chaos, one name stayed untouched: Beyonce. When Nicki dropped that cryptic line, Beyonce knew. The internet exploded. If Jay-Z really did cross a line with Nicki back then, fans couldn't help but ask, what did Beyonce know? And when? Her silence ever since has been deafening. On the surface, she's calm and composed, the picture of grace. But insiders say her team has been working overtime, calling up radio stations, producers, and stylists, making sure no one dares touch that topic. One insider said it plain: they can't let this look like betrayal inside music's royal family. Because if Nicki's story holds even a hint of truth, then Beyonce's silence isn't elegance, it's survival. The stakes here go way beyond gossip. For years, Jay-Z and Beyonce have been hip-hop's ultimate power couple, the blueprint for turning fame into a billion-dollar empire. But if Nicki's claims even crack that image, it threatens the entire mythology they've built. Whispers in studio circles say NDAs have already gone out, warning Roc Nation insiders to stay quiet about any female artist disputes. Lawyers are now combing through old contracts, tightening loyalty clauses, and reminding everyone to keep their mouths shut. Nobody wants to be the next name leaked, and at this point, it's starting to look less like PR damage control and more like a full-blown containment mission. Nicki's been using social media like it's her last line of defense. After dropping that eerie AI photo of Jay-Z rocking a pink wig with the chilling caption, "I am your karma," she didn't back down. She doubled up. She went on a posting spree, calling out music's gatekeepers for blocking her from interviews and festivals, daring her own label to stand up for her, and even hinting that she's got receipts locked and loaded for court. She fired off one warning that shook fans: the same business managers who stole from me are still working for them. No one knows if her claims will ever make it inside a courtroom, but one thing's clear: Nicki's not just an artist in a feud anymore. She's become a symbol of defiance, the insider who refused to play by the industry's quiet rules. And behind closed doors, fear is spreading fast. Smaller artists have started whispering about sudden show cancellations, deals vanishing overnight, and podcasters who praise Nicki suddenly losing advertisers. People are being reminded which names to avoid, and it's no secret who's on that list. Meanwhile, word is Beyonce's team keeps a running list of media outlets to monitor, tracking which stories drop where and how they trend. That kind of coordination doesn't happen by accident. It only happens when an empire feels the ground shaking beneath it. The more Nicki speaks out, the louder the silence becomes around her, and that's the part that gives people chills. The psychological warfare behind it all. Every rant, every deleted post, every cryptic image gets brushed off as drama for clicks. But if you look closer, there's a pattern hiding in plain sight. Each time Nicki erupts online, it's followed by a flood of headlines. And right after that, boom, another lawsuit, another cancellation, another dent in her name. It's almost like the system is waiting for her to break, just so they can point and say, see, she's unstable. But what if that's not a breakdown at all? What if it's the visible scar of years of control, manipulation, and isolation finally spilling out in real time for the world to watch? Inside the industry, the whispers are getting louder. Executives who once bragged about signing her are now hiding behind contract clauses, calling her too unpredictable. Insurance companies are labeling her a liability, and even publicists who used to go to war for her are now backing away quietly. The madness narrative has become the perfect cover, a slick excuse to erase her voice, twist her pain into hysteria, and dismiss the weight of her claims. But those watching closely can tell, this isn't chaos for clout. It's a woman pushing back against a system that's terrified of what she might expose. It's the same old industry playbook. Twist a powerful woman's exhaustion into proof that she's the problem. The cruel part, the harder she fights back, the easier it becomes to slap that unstable label on her. And if even half of what Nicki's saying is true, then this story goes way beyond one artist losing control. It's about an industry built on fear. The gossip, the headlines, the memes, they're not harmless. They're a soft kind of censorship designed to punish anyone brave enough to stand alone. And here's the scariest part. If Nicki Minaj, with her millions, her fame, and her global reach, can be cornered like this, imagine what happens to the ones without that kind of power. Strip away the glam and the pink wigs, and what's left isn't a feud. It's a fight for control. Nicki's not just defending her home, her money, or her name. She's battling for the right to exist outside of a system built to own her. If what she's saying holds weight, we might be witnessing one of the most calculated acts of retaliation the music world's ever seen. A machine designed to crush defiance, bury the evidence, and rewrite the story afterward. And that raises a haunting question that nobody in the industry wants to answer. If it can happen to Nicki Minaj with her fan base, her fame, and her fire, what chance does anyone else really have? Could those same forces already be moving in silence against other artists we've never even heard about? Because if this is the system's way of keeping power in check, then every hit, every silence, every headline might be part of a much bigger game. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Nicki's exposing the truth or losing her grip? Smash that like button, share, and subscribe, because this story, it's far from over. See you in the next one.